As you watch the first half of this program, keep these questions in mind.
What advantages helped Spain conquer the Aztecs?
What dangers did European explorers face in the New World?
Prosperous and sophisticated empires were thriving in Central and South America long before Spanish explorers ever set foot there. The Aztec Empire stretched far and wide across the Mexican plateau.
What are some of the good and bad things that happened to countries when they were discovered by Westerners?
You get an exchange of ideas, an exchange of material goods.
Cultural diffusion.
Certain farming tips.
Corn became like really big in Europe because it was so easy to grow.
Government, organization, formatted societies, colonies, more people, diversity.
Europe brought over things to the Americas like disease.
In a lot of cases there's been genocide where they've been killed.
Well, when Columbus came over, he was enslaving the Indians and putting them in pens.
So they kind of did like an exchange of both good and bad.
Today, Mexico City is home to more than 20 million people. It is the capital of Mexico and its largest city. 500 years ago, another city stood on the same spot. That city was called Tenochtitlan, and it was the capital of the Aztec Empire. Tenochtitlan was founded in 1325 when the Aztecs came to the Valley of Mexico from their original homes farther north. Over time, the Aztecs became skilled engineers, architects, artists, mathematicians, and astronomers. They built Tenochtitlan, their masterpiece, on a marshy island on Lake Texcoco. The city was linked to the shore by 3 stone causeways. Since the water around the island was not drinkable, the Aztecs built aqueducts to bring in drinking water from nearby springs. About 200,000 people called the city home. It was dominated by an imposing temple that stood 12 stories high, El Templo Mayor. Here, the Aztecs held their most important religious ceremonies. Religion dominated Aztec society. The priesthood was a powerful political and social group. Most Aztecs believed that their lives depended on the goodwill of the gods, and the surest way to win the gods' favor was to make offerings to them, human offerings. Human sacrifice was essential, for though man could not exist except through the creative force of the gods in turn needed man to sustain them with human sacrifice. Man must nourish the gods with the magic sustenance of life itself, found in human blood and in human hearts. The Aztecs believed that sacrificing humans to the gods was a necessary part of life. Every day, the priests climbed to the top of the temple and made an offering to Huitzilopochtli, the god of war and the sun. Aztec priests believed their offerings guaranteed that the sun would rise again the next day. They performed so many human sacrifices that the steps of the Templo Mayor became stained red. But the sacrifices were not just religious offerings. They also instilled fear in the enemies of the Aztec Empire, because most human sacrifices were prisoners who had been captured in the many battles the Aztecs fought against their neighbors. For more than 200 years, the Aztecs used military strength, diplomacy, and fear to forge an empire. Their land stretched from the Gulf of Mexico to the Pacific Ocean and included almost 10 million subjects. Theirs was the largest and most powerful empire in Mesoamerica when a small army of Spanish conquistadors arrived in 1519. The Spanish wanted Aztec gold and fought with them for control of their empire. Within 6 years, the Spanish and their Indian allies would defeat the last Aztec king and bring down the empire. setting the stage for Spain's conquest of the rest of Mexico, and making the city of Tenochtitlan a fading memory. Did you know? The Aztecs were doomed for destruction. They believed that the Spaniards were descended from their god, Quetzalcoatl, which gave the invaders a decided advantage. In addition, many rebellious Indian groups joined the Spaniards in their fight against Aztec rule.